Welcome back, everybody, to the One Day Podcast. I am your host, or one of your hosts, Alan.
And I'm Lizelle,
And
and
as you can see,
we're
we're
together.
together. This is like our first,
This is our
like,
first time ever
yeah, in
recording the
person.
podcast together in person.
Yeah, I'm
Feels a bit
actually in
weird.
Australia. No, I'm just kidding. Again.
Yeah, so I flew over here
Yep.
about a week ago now. I've been here, did I just say I've
Like a
been here for
week.
a week? Yeah.
Like a week.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. How does it
Yeah.
feel for you having me here?
I mean, as I can see, I'm a lot more comfortable at the house because we've
Mm-hmm.
like
Oh,
when like
tell
someone
them what we've been
comes. Well,
doing.
you know how someone comes and visits, like a relative and all that.
Yeah.
Like you clean up your place and all
Yeah.
that. The week before, I was planning and cleaning the house, and I waited till like you told me
You
this
were
last night. You're
cleaning
like
at the
you're gonna
11th
wait till the
hour.
last minute, and I
Mhm.
did, and I kind of am happy I did it because it pushed me to like really like grab everything I've accumulated over the years.
Mhm.
So I've always wanted Lizelle to organize my life, and now that she's here, having her here, it's a lot easier, and you can
Yeah.
see what I didn't need and
Mhm.
what I still need. So it's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, I typically enjoy doing that stuff like reorganizing
Right.
and getting things in order. So this week we did the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yesterday, actually, I couldn't sleep. The jet lag's been killing me. So
Yeah.
I woke up at like 7 a.m. and I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to go back to sleep. Let me just get done with the kitchen.
Hmm.
And it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And those things that we've always wanted to do is just like chill, hang out,
Mhm.
go work out.
Oh yeah, we have
We've
been
been
doing that.
going to the park. We've been walking. We
Mhm.
played ball one day. Um, went to the grocery stores. Went to IKEA like 3 times.
We did. Yes, we've
A
been doing the
Walmart.
IKEA trips.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
these are the things that we've always said we wanted to do, and
Yeah.
we had a chance of doing it. But this time around, like because of your jet lag, we haven't really that like our date night
Our
was
date
like
nights have been
it's been
such a
shot.
fail. I feel so lethargic and tired like around 4 p.m. And from then on it's like
Yeah.
trying to
And it's
stay
fine. I
awake.
totally understand. Trust me.
Mm.
Like it probably takes you more than a week to adjust for
Yeah.
your jet lag. So
Yeah.
it's okay. So how do
Mhm.
you feel being here?
Um it feels like home.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel comfortable. It
Mm-hmm.
just I think I've settled into the routine really well. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't even feel like foreign to me
Mm-hmm.
or strange or like something that I had to get used to. I mean, it was kind of like go 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 from the first
True.
weekend, like after the first weekend here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And she hasn't been here since 2019. So
mhm.
it's been like 3 years.
Yeah.
And having her here, helping me with what I do for work, and
Mhm.
definitely my daughter, it's a big help because I get to sleep in a little bit. You get to help
Yeah.
me do her hair, cook
Mhm.
breakfast,
Mhm.
do a little bit of her homework.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I enjoy it, so
Yeah. And she'd
yeah.
miss you a lot. So it's like for her, she loves it. She loves you
Yeah.
being here.
I love it too. So yeah, I'm just really happy to be here.
Let's do what we always do in the
All right,
beginning.
let's do what we always do. We're not really strangers.
Yeah.
Who's gonna go first?
Let me go first. Hopefully this is not the same thing you have,
Okay.
but it says what what's my biggest pet peeve, and explain.
Oh, okay. I wasn't gonna ask that question.
Oh, good.
What is your biggest pet
Hmm.
peeve? From what I know, it's like bad attitudes.
Oh, okay. I didn't think
You
about that,
weren't
but
thinking about
yeah.
that?
Oh, that's a
I
good one.
always know that it's like you're naturally a very positive person, so bad attitude.
I think I'm easily influenced. So if someone is like angry or down, I get
It
down and
rubs off on
angry. So
you.
it's like even if you're not that positive or happy, if you're
Mm.
just like even kill, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I get so easily influenced by
I'm trying to think, like, what else would be a pet peeve of yours? I mean, from what I've seen being here, like bad drivers.
Oh, really?
In traffic. Like, you know how sometimes people be like swerving
Oh, you
and
haven't like met a lot of people I know that's our road rage people I
okay,
know.
yeah, your road rage
I'm
is not that
okay.
bad.
It's
Yeah.
not like I'm gonna go chase down somebody and
Yeah.
I
I
don't
feel like you
know.
can pick mine really well. But I that's what I think of with you is like bad attitude, bad
With
drivers.
yours, I don't know.
Come on, you know.
Like
Pet peeve.
like cleanliness, like picking up stuff.
But that's not really something I complain about. Like if I see something's out of place, I'm just gonna go put it away. I don't even have to think about it. It's just like naturally.
Hmm.
Mm.
What's a pet peeve of yours?
I,
Is this something that I do that you're like?
something that you do.
Because I know there's one thing I do that you're like, oh, stop doing that.
What was that? I know.
I'd bite my nail and
Yeah.
throw it over my shoulder.
Whenever you chew your nail, whenever Alan and I are on a FaceTime and he be chewing his nails, I'm like, babe,
So,
stop.
uh,
Okay, yeah, that's a pet peeve.
okay, that's
Yeah.
the only one I can think of. That's why I picked that
Um.
question.
Okay.
What's a big pet peeve of yours that I do, or just in
In
general?
general, I mean,
The attitude for me is good because it's not just us. It's like
mhm.
in general, I don't really like being around people that have a bad attitude.
Yeah. I think like people who aren't who don't acknowledge like you know how like sometimes you might leave the door open for someone or like you might like say hello to somebody or they just kind of
So
like
manners.
yes, general manners and
Okay.
etiquette I think is like
Hmm.
but that doesn't really bother me like it doesn't ruin my day. It's not like I'm like you know what I
Okay.
mean? So I
So
don't
what
really know
else is a
like what a
big?
pet
That's why
peeve
I was
would
like,
be.
I don't really. Do you have a pet peeve?
I
I
don't
guess
think
not.
so.
Not that crazy.
No. There's not really much that like gets me like riled up in that sense. Cuz like even the thing you said about like picking up and cleaning and
Okay.
it's not something I get upset about cuz I just do it anyway.
So just biting my nails and
Biting your
throwing it
nails.
over my shoulder.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only thing that irks you.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
If I look funny because I'm not so used to carrying a mic,
Me too.
so
I'm just
it's
kind of like
like
leaning it against myself
we're
so if I
used
look like
to
I'm like
having our
the
thing
mic
that
stand,
folds.
yeah.
If I look funny, because
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm not a performer.
We'll ease into it, but yeah, I packed my microphone, but I couldn't bring the mic stand.
Yeah.
But
What's
um,
your question?
my question is, what do you think I'd like to do more often with you?
Hmm.
I
Well, now that you're here,
can think of a few things in general. Like, what do you think? What do you
hmm.
think I'd like to do more often with you?
I mean, we're spending time.
Hmm.
Maybe go to places.
Really?
I would think so. I mean, maybe that's mine
Okay.
because
Yeah.
like you've been here. This is your second time being here, so there's so many more places I'd like to take you.
Mm,
So in my mind, it's the only thing I could think of that's for me that I'd like to do more of with you
okay. Yeah.
because there's a lot of stuff this week alone that you've experienced for the first time. So I'm
Hmm.
like, I can't wait for you to experience all these things. Like
Yeah.
you still haven't even experienced like seeing snow. Remember we
I
saw
did see like the
right? We went to American Dream,
uh-huh.
the new mall we have here in Jersey, and
Hmm.
they had a ski slope, and that's like the closest you got to seeing snow. So like things like that, I'd like for you to experience more stuff with me.
Okay.
But what would it be?
I mean, for you, like what I think you would like to do
Hmm.
more of with me is yeah, like dates.
Okay.
Because you always talk about how like you want to date me. Because being
Yeah,
long
we don't.
distance, we don't really get to date like that,
Our
right?
dates is like Netflix and Netflix party,
Yeah, that's like, and it's the same thing over and over again. So we don't really
so
get
we
to
don't
do like different
adult
things.
stuff like go
Yeah.
out to eat,
Uh huh.
drink, go out in the city and stuff
Hmm.
like that.
I
So
think that's what you would like to do
I
more
definitely
with
wouldn't.
me.
What I mean by experience for sure that too.
Yeah. But personally, for myself, like
Hmm.
what I would like to do more with you is just like pretty much what we're already doing. Like me being here is like
Yeah.
the little things like going grocery
Mm,
shopping together, walking to the bodega, like just little things like
right.
that, going to get coffee.
Little things. Like
Yeah.
even like we haven't even done like going ice skating or roller skating or
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be big stuff. Like, I'm so content with, like, let's go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Let's go grab a coffee. Let's go for a walk.
You guys have to understand this week she never really mentioned it, but like she was like, "You're really happy."
Oh, he is
I don't.
so happy. Like, obviously, we're
You've
on the
never seen
phone
me
all the
this
time. Yeah.
like
You're,
happy
like,
in
really
person.
chipper.
It's because it's been so long, number one, and these are the things that I've always thought about doing
Yeah.
with you. So like you being here is a big difference. It's like
Mm.
I get to do this with you and all three of us, and you, me, and my daughter. So like
Yeah.
it's great that we get to do these things now, and we have
Mhm.
a not a week to do it. We have more than a week to do it. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like everything's a rush like
Mm.
all the time, like when we see each other.
Mhm.
So yeah.
What's today's topic gonna be about?
Well, this month is men's health, right?
Yeah, the month of June is Men's Health Month. And today, actually, what inspired this topic of
Yeah.
conversation
Hmm.
was because we went to, where do we go today?
We went to like a video shoot.
Mm-hmm.
One of my good friends, Esteban and Kat, really awesome people that I've known for years, and they did needed me to be on camera
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just talk about mental health and men's health,
Yeah.
and that pretty much inspired us to talk about this topic because we've been talking about even mental health for so long. And
Yeah.
it's one of those taboo things that no one really like back in the 90s or even early 2000s no one talks about.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's that stigma behind like men have to
Hmm.
be like this strong figure, take
Right.
care of themselves,
Hmm.
not really expect too much help from anybody.
Right.
So when it comes to health, naturally that could be like something they don't really put forth as a priority,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I think
Because you're more
don't
focused on like hustling, getting money,
yeah,
taking care,
growing up
like,
most men are, it's that machismo kind of
mhm.
like nothing really. I don't need to show our emotions on our sleeve. Like we no one really like we don't like to show our emotions pretty much.
Yeah.
We don't like to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
And I was telling my friend Kat, I was like, I never experienced anyone caring how I feel. And through this relationship, helped me a lot to open up and really talk about how I feel. Because we honestly we bottle things inside, like as men, and we like
Typically, yeah.
literally like don't talk to anybody about how we feel. And
Mhm.
when things happen, we explode. Yeah, we don't know how to react to certain things after a
Mhm.
while. Things get bottled up.
Yeah.
And I think this topic is very important because no one really talks about mental health, men's health. Even one topic they talked about was like, yeah, they always talk about women and postpartum, but men also
They do
get
experience it, yeah.
postpartum. Like having my daughter, I got to stop doing the things I did before.
Mhm.
Unfortunately for me, I love being a dad, and that gave me new light on
Mhm.
like what I do and what I strive for.
Yeah.
Because like everything I do is for us and for my daughter,
Mhm.
and it really pushed me to do what to hustle even harder.
Yeah, it puts like a new
Hmm.
what is that? Like a new it puts a new fire in you.
Yeah.
Like you have no choice. You got to like
Right.
yeah. But going back to what you were saying about being open and vulnerable with your feelings, we're just going to focus on like mental health right now because
Yes.
that's like a big thing that isn't really
Yeah.
too really talked about
Hmm.
amongst men in general. Like how was it for you growing up? Like
Yeah.
if you
We
ever
don't.
had, I feel like you're naturally a very positive person. You don't really
I learned that in an early age,
mm,
and I was fortunate enough to like I learned to be positive. I've learned how to navigate through like being open. Like because I moved a lot, so I
mm,
had to like get to know a lot of people.
mm,
When I went to college, I grew up in the Philippines, and then I moved to Massachusetts. So
yeah.
I was like fifth grade. Quickly, I had to like adjust and get to know friends and stuff like that. So I wasn't shy,
Okay.
um, but again, I made friends, but you still never talked about how you felt,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And growing up not having a father figure at the moment because he was making a living somewhere else,
Mhm.
had my brother there and we fought a lot. So
Mhm.
he knew how I felt, but we expressed it off of like anger. But we
Which
didn't.
is naturally like what most men
Yes,
do
because we
if
didn't
they
speak,
yeah.
we didn't talk, we didn't like hash out things growing up. We just was
Mhm.
like, we were competitive, so we kind of just. He's like the only other person I ever fought,
Yeah.
but we never really explained how we felt growing up.
Mm.
It was even getting to high school, it was very awkward. Oh, like him telling me how he felt because
Mhm.
we never really had like that one to one. Oh, that's how you felt. It's more
Okay.
reaction.
Yeah.
So that growing up not having that father figure, my mom was busy making a living.
Mhm.
We knew she loves us, but she never really like express, or like, it wasn't like expressed. They they never ask us questions like, "Oh, how was your day? How are you doing in
Right.
school?"
Mm.
Like they never really asked those type of questions that we normally would ask now.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a different feeling towards like mental health in general as a
Mm-hmm.
whole, but also like when it comes to males, because you know how like back in the day it was
Right.
more so like, oh, that's something like females emotional, okay, yeah, we get it. But
Right.
if it was like guys, it's like, oh, like suck it up,
Mm-hmm.
like be strong, like you're not meant to feel like this, like get over it type thing.
It is.
Yeah.
For a male, definitely it's like get
Hmm.
over it or suck it up,
Yes.
or guy like men don't act like that,
Yeah.
so we're not supposed to show our emotions. So
Yeah.
if not, you're like a sissy
Hmm.
or you're a pussy.
Right, exactly. So how did that feel like for you coming into like meeting me, because I am very open
Hmm.
with you
Right.
in terms of emotions, feelings, being vulnerable, open and honest. And I know that in the beginning of us getting to know each other,
Hmm.
you were like, yeah, you can talk to me anytime, but you were kind of more closed about like if I
I
would ask you how you
was
were, you're just like,
Yeah, I was very
yeah.
reserved. I didn't
Hmm.
know how to answer those questions because I'd never had to express how I felt before.
Yeah.
And then I wondered like, why is she asking me this? I never like told you or
Yeah.
asked you why you're asking me, but I just got used to it after a while. But it was very uncomfortable in the beginning
Me
for sure,
asking you like how
because
are you really
because
feeling?
I didn't never have to like, you live in your body, your mind, so
Hmm.
you knew how you felt. You didn't
Yeah.
have to. I felt like I didn't have to explain that before, but
Hmm.
when somebody asks you, and then I know somebody that cared ask you,
Hmm.
then they really want to know.
Hmm.
And I've had people ask me how are you doing, but they don't. It's like a surface type of thing, like,
Yeah, it's
hey,
just
how you
like, yeah.
doing? It's not like how you're really doing, right?
Like I'm here to listen to your
Right. It's
answer.
more
Like,
like just by passing, like,
yeah,
oh, everything's fine, whatever. But when you asked me that before, I knew you genuinely wanted to know, and yeah, it's after a while, I'm like, wow, she really cares.
yeah. Because I think us talking and stuff in that time when we were really just getting to know each other, like
Hmm.
your workload was pretty crazy, and
Yeah.
then like taking care of your daughter. Like, I was like, damn, is he like overwhelmed? Does he get stressed? Like, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Like, and you were kind of just like, yeah, I'm fine, but I'm just like, you
Yeah.
can talk about it, like it's
Hmm.
okay. And I think you just probably weren't used to a having somebody ask you that, and b
Right.
having somebody to listen.
Hmm.
But like you said, you live with your emotions inside, so
Yeah.
having to express them and also articulate them in a way that somebody else can understand
Hmm.
is like a whole different thing, because you can like kind of feel what you're feeling within yourself. When you have to bring it out and
And yeah,
explain it,
exactly.
it's a whole different thing.
Right.
So
Yeah, it was like I said, it was uncomfortable. Um, but for me, I've always, and you know me by now, it's like, okay, shit happens all the time.
yeah.
You need to learn how to pivot, adjust, and find solutions. And so
Hmm.
I've lived my whole adult life doing that.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to rely on anybody. And like literally learning and being in a relationship, I had to learn how to like work and like learn that it's not just you anymore.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and explaining how you feel is important because
Hmm.
you can't be you're not we're both not mind readers, so you
Exactly.
have to learn how to express and tell your partner how you feel.
Mm,
And that's what I've learned over the years, like with you and with our relationship, is to be vulnerable and be open. Like now I don't really hold back. If you tell me, you say, hey, are you angry, I'll really tell you if I'm angry and or why I'm angry.
mm-hmm,
Before I would hold it in and say, oh, you know what, I'll get over it, I know what to do to not feel that way, I know, I'm gonna just be busy doing this, I'll work on this so that I'm not bothered by this type of problem or not be stressed out.
mm.
But now I'm like, hey, yeah, now that you ask, I'm gonna tell you why I'm upset, this is what got me upset, this is what I'm gonna do about it.
Right. You
Yeah.
come with like the problem and
Yeah.
solutions too, which
I'm
is
so
really good.
used to finding my own solution that I just didn't have anybody to express how I felt
Mm.
before.
That's the thing is like I feel as though like you were saying before everything is pretty surface level like when
Hmm.
we meet up with people and we just say like hey how are you, how's it
Yeah.
going, yeah good good good, that's good, but we never really dive deeper into those things, and that's why I think it's really important to check on people in your
Yeah.
life, your loved ones, like we sign off on these episodes. I always say like
Hmm.
take care of yourself and look out for others,
No, she
because
really means that.
I
Like,
really do
I
mean
know
it.
you do.
Yeah. Because it can be the difference between I don't want to go into like something really morbid, but it's like you just never know, like what somebody is going through, how they're
Yeah.
feeling.
There's tons of stories out over the past, and you would think like a celebrity's that happy and they like committed suicide because they, no one knew they were
Mm,
depressed and no one knew they had anxiety and going through mental health issues. And
yeah.
I'm like, wow. Again, I never, because I know you go through that,
Mhm.
and I didn't know that in the past, and now you've been educating me with mental health and your struggles with it.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't know everything, but I'm more aware of like a lot of those things now,
Yeah.
a lot more sensitive. And I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, that really goes through. I mean, it goes with everything. Like athletes are coming out nowadays saying, they have mental health issues and stuff like that. So it's
Mm,
really, I'm glad that it's getting more common. I mean,
yeah.
there's still a lot more people that need to know more about mental health,
Mm.
because they just think that like, oh no, just think positive, right?
Oh
That's the number
yes.
one thing people would
Just don't
say.
think about it
Don't think
anymore.
about it.
Yeah.
Think about something else, or be busy. Do this, but
Mhm.
they don't know like that. These are the things that people think about, no matter if they want to or not. Like it just pops into their head.
Yeah. So what is your understanding now of like anxiety and depression and struggling with mental health? Because I feel like there's this big stigma behind it where it's like, oh, that person's just a little bit sad, or like something
Yeah.
happened to make
Well,
them sad.
I think growing up, depression was really not. No one really knows what depression is like before,
Mm,
especially before. Um, they just think someone's sad,
right.
they're down,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's solution is just like you said, think positive,
Mm-hmm.
or let's do something, let's get your mind off of that. But it's
Mm,
not that easy,
yeah.
and people really like don't know what to do with people around
Mm,
anyone that's depressed or have really bad anxiety.
yeah. And I think that comes off of the old school mentality of like say our parents,
Yeah.
where it's like, well, what do you have to be depressed about, like what do you got to be
Mm,
sad about,
right.
like, whereas in this generation today I feel like because we know how that felt,
Right.
we're more open to talk to our children and be like,
Hmm.
what's going on, like how are you really feeling, like what can I do to help, whereas
Hmm.
like the older generation is more like you ain't got nothing to be sad about, like
Hmm.
why are you stressed out, why do you have anxiety, like they don't understand it completely,
Yeah. And another thing too is going back to what you said. I feel like there's a lot of things that happen in the world, and I feel like if someone just spoke to them and know that they care about it,
mm,
then their results might not be as negative as we see in the media, like
yeah,
the shootings that we happening and all of
yeah,
those things. I think because we don't check up on other people and our people that we love,
mm,
and we think that they're like they might not say anything, so you
mm,
think they're okay.
yeah,
We don't check up on them, but inside they're really like they either getting bullied or something is going on mentally, mental health issues that we don't know about, and we
mm,
don't check up on them.
exactly,
that thing kind of gets bottled up, and then they lash out or they do something, you know,
It
something
comes
that they don't
out
want to do.
in the form of like anger or rage
Yes,
or
right.
yeah.
So what do you think about mental health and depression and anxiety? Because I know you go through that sometimes. So.
Yeah. I mean, my mental health is something that I have, I guess, struggled with for
Hmm.
several years. It's not really something that I openly talk about, but I have spoken about it before.
Right.
Um, and it's gone so far. Like I've been on medication, done therapy, like all of that. So that's why I'm a
Mm.
very big advocate for mental health and
Hmm.
like checking on your mental health and getting help should you need it, even if you don't need it. Like talking to somebody,
Right.
talking to family. I know that it's difficult because that kind of stuff can be expensive,
Yes.
and that goes into the whole idea that there's not enough support from the government when it comes to mental health
Right.
care.
They don't.
It's more so like put a band-aid on it type thing, like oh just
Yeah.
go get some sunlight, take this medication, go do
Mm.
some things that make you happy, and that's it. Whereas like going to therapy can be really expensive,
Yes.
and in Australia it's crazy because we get to see the different perspectives of the
Right.
government and
Right.
healthcare system. You've got your American, I've got my Australian.
It's horrible over here.
In Australia, it's like you can go to the doctor and get a referral to see a psychologist. Like they'll do
Hmm.
like a whole healthcare, mental health care plan with you, set you up with somebody who's suited, and you can have, I think it's up to 10 free sessions
Oh
free.
wow.
And I think during the pandemic, they doubled it to 20
Mm.
free sessions because they knew like it was a very difficult time. So there's that. And then obviously we've got like rebates and stuff for our medication. So I know our medication isn't as crazy
Yeah.
expensive as you guys, but for you guys, I can totally understand why people don't
Don't.
go to the
Right.
doctor and don't get help because it's like it's expensive.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to pick between? Like, am I going to go to the doctor for my mental
Or
health, or am I going to
pay my rent.
pay these bills or
Yeah.
get these groceries?
Exactly.
Like, which one are you going to choose?
Yeah.
So,
So they push that aside and
yeah.
obviously take care of their everyday
Hmm.
expenses.
Yeah. And then that's when things kind of start to snowball and you feel like you're constantly being run into the ground because it's like you're not able to take care of yourself in all aspects. It's like I'm taking
Mm.
care of myself, like by paying my bills and looking after my
Right.
household and stuff, but it's like maybe your mental health is like on the decline, but you can't do that because of
Hmm.
the healthcare
Yeah.
issue over
Yeah.
here. So,
It's really unfortunate here in
mm,
America that we don't get free healthcare. I
mm.
mean, insanely.
I can't believe
It's
the
like
prices you guys
they
pay.
they put money on different departments in the government
Mm,
where if they put that on the medical, you know, like all the help that we need there,
mm.
it's a lot of money in different parts of the government that they use money on, like even militaries, for
That's
instance.
insane.
It's insane.
Mm.
So like we have people here that are starving. We have people here that have health issues.
Homelessness.
It's insane. Like
Yeah.
well, we don't take care of the people here, and it's a capitalist society. So like they're gonna want to make you pay for all that stuff
Mm. I think that kind of stems back to the immigrant mentality
for sure.
where it's like, if you're not sick, you don't need to go to the
Yeah,
doctor.
I don't even. I remember being young
Yeah.
and not going to the doctors. We didn't really do any general checkups.
Yeah,
Like
that's
we
crazy.
did, but after a while, you're like, okay, well, I haven't seen a doctor in years.
Hmm.
Because like, if there's nothing wrong with you, they're not gonna go. You're not gonna go to the doctor to do a
Yeah.
regular checkup.
But that's so scary because it's like, what if you go for a checkup like years later as you're older and it's
You
like,
find out
you've
something
got
wrong. Yeah,
something really wrong with you. Had you come to us earlier, we could have possibly put
right,
you on like a plan to like deter away from it. But now we're here and it's,
right. Like
so
we wait till like the shit hits the fan, and then
yeah.
eventually, there's no prevention. It's more like when things happen, then that's when you go to the doctor, and kind of like in your car. Like if you don't check on your liquids and fluids,
Mhm.
then you're gonna mess up the engine. Like if you
Yeah.
don't check your oil, you need maintenance.
Yeah. I think I actually used that analogy with you one
Yeah,
time. I was telling you like we got one brain,
right.
one body, one heart. Like
Yeah,
if you don't take care of this,
yeah,
it's gonna fall to bits later. Like you
yeah,
got to take care of it now.
yeah. And I think segueing with that is like for me, I recently found out I have high blood pressure and cholesterol. Like my cholesterol is high,
Mhm.
and that's from stress, lifestyle, um, and genetics.
Yep.
So like my family, my side, my father's side of the family, they had heart problems,
Mhm.
and you know after going to Paris and we had COVID, we came back and my chest was hurting and I thought it was like my heart. So I was like,
Mm.
crap, like I never had any heart issues before, and I've been paying all this money for health
Healthcare.
insurance, and
Yeah.
I'm self-employed, so it's not like I'm working under a company and I'm paying. I'm literally paying monthly on health insurance,
Mhm.
and I never really like I used it last year, and going like as soon as my heart like I felt like something wrong with my chest, I went to go see the doctor.
Yeah.
I went in there for one thing, and I found out like I had health issues. I had like high blood pressure. My cholesterol is really high.
Mm.
Um, but the chest and my pain was off of COVID,
Yeah. Long
long
COVID.
COVID,
Mm.
and even finding out like what they said was because I was coughing. Remember, I was coughing nonstop.
Yeah, we were on the phone because we're on the phone all the time, obviously, when we're apart. So I would hear him coughing. I don't even think you realized you were doing it so
I
much.
did. It's just that when I cough without like just regular cough,
Yeah.
I drown out the noise. So I'm like, oh, that's just regular,
Okay.
and I didn't not knowing what it was in the beginning. So
Mm.
I felt like I was just coughing.
Yeah.
So after a while, I'm like, no, I'm coughing, and then I have chest pain.
Mm.
So I'm like, let me go see my doctor. And when I got there, they said I have long COVID.
Yeah.
It's like a scarring on your lungs, and
Yeah.
they did a was it MRI or and they checked for my anything wrong with my heart, any cardiovascular
Mm.
issues, and they're like, oh, your heart's fine. I'm like, great, but you have long COVID,
Mm.
and it's like scarring on your lungs, and
Mm.
it was painful. Like, yeah, I never felt that pain before in my
Mm.
life, and I
Yeah.
was like, wow, that's what it feels like having maybe like any kind of lung cancer or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I was feeling it in my throat,
Mm.
so it was just nonstop coughing.
I remember.
So now, like, not taking care of my body, my mental health, it affected me. Like, I'm like, oh crap, I'm getting older. I need to do something about this. Again, it's all about prevention. If I would have exercised more, eat better, and spoke more about my stresses instead of holding it in, then
Mm.
I probably won't be in this position. But now that I'd say I'd caught it earlier,
Yeah.
now it's like time to like adjust and
Mm.
adjust my lifestyle, work out, eat
Mm.
better,
Yeah.
make better decisions.
Yeah.
So
I think like going off that, like how did it feel being told those things? Like going to the doctor, doing the tests, and then them telling you like, hey, you've got this, this,
yeah,
this, and this. How did that feel for you?
typical me. I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? Like when I
Okay.
sat there with the doctor and you were there with me on my ear, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so what is this? I asked a lot of questions. I said, hey, what do I need to do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how, do I need to stay on this medication for so long? I've never thought I'd be in medication
Like that.
at all. I'm like, ever.
Mm.
So, like, hearing something like that where I can do something about it, like if
Mm-hmm.
I exercise and eat better, and, you know, I was like, okay, well, what else do I need to do?
Mm.
So I didn't feel so bad because normally I normally don't panic on those type of things
Yeah.
anyways. But again, yeah, I was just more curious like what else do I need to do? What kind of lifestyle change I need to make?
Okay. So it wasn't something that like you were scared of or that you were panicking about.
No, because I know I could adjust
Okay.
certain things,
Yeah.
and knowing that like it's hereditary. I
Mm.
know my father's side of the family, we a lot of us have high blood pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and high cholesterol. So like now, especially our culture,
Oh yes.
Filipinos are like infamous of like
Yeah, all
our
that
diet, the
food.
food.
Hmm.
It's delicious. I'm not
Oh
gonna lie,
yeah, for
but
sure.
like over decades and decades of eating those type of things,
Hmm.
we don't really have the most healthiest food.
Yeah,
So I could understand why our culture suffers,
yeah.
over decades. Like
Mm.
it gets passed down.
That's the how it becomes hereditary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why I was asking, like, did you panic or did you feel scared, is because I
Hmm.
know that can be another reason as to why people don't go to the doctor to get checkups, because they don't want to hear about what's wrong. They don't want to
That's
be
true too,
told
for
that bad
sure.
news. I know I went through a time like that where I was really struggling, like mentally, and it was affecting me physically. And like going to the
Mm,
doctors every time was such a struggle, because it was like, you need to do this, you need to be having more of
mm,
this, you need to be taking more of this. And it's just like you feel like you're constantly being hit with like, this is what you're
yeah.
doing wrong, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what you're doing wrong.
Hmm.
So that's like another reason as to why people in general might not
They
want
don't
to go
want
to
to
the
go.
doctor, because they
Right.
don't want to be given that list of like, this is what's wrong with you, now go fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think being older
Mm.
and having responsibilities and being the man of the house, where I feel like I have to take care of you and, you know, my daughter,
Hmm.
like, again, it gives you that perspective of like, oh crap, I really need to get my shit together.
Yeah.
And I need to, like, what do I need to do to be right so that I can be right for everybody else? And, because for me, I'll be okay, but my responsibility is this big with people depend on me. So I'm like,
Mm.
what do I need to do that I need to be okay?
I get it, but I feel like that's where not just women, but as in like people who are around men can help support them
Mm-hmm.
and kind of encourage them to look after themselves and take care of themselves,
Right.
because you shouldn't feel like everything is on me. Like I got to take
Mm,
care of everybody. Like as your partner, for me,
mm-hmm.
I'm always going to ask you, like, did you take your medication? Have you
Yeah.
done this? Like, what did you eat today? And
Mm-hmm.
I know sometimes it might sound like nagging, but I do it like from the heart because I care.
For
Like,
sure.
and I think that's why it's really important. I'm not just going to say like as wives, as fiancés, as
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends, partners, whatever. Like look after your man, but it's like in general, we should be looking out for the men and women in our
For
lives, making
sure.
sure they're taking care of themselves, both
Right.
physically, mentally,
Emotionally.
so that they don't feel like, oh crap, I gotta like take care of all this and myself.
Right.
Like it's part of my responsibility as your partner to help you help
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny you mentioned that, because like those are the things that I've told you in the past, that you remind me of my mom,
Yeah.
because you and her are alike in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
You guys are, you, like, some people might take it as nagging.
Or worrying too
I've
much.
or worrying.
Mhm.
I am so used to being like my mom, like asking me about my health,
Mhm.
that I'm used to it. So
Yeah.
like when you started doing it, I'm like, oh great, I have two people asking me. But I took it as, I know they care.
Yeah.
I know that they mean well, and I know why they're asking me, because obviously they want me to be around.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, it's good to know that people have my back and they
Mhm.
care about me and my health.
Of course. And
So
it's not like we don't think you're capable of doing it
yeah, and
yourself. It's just like because we care,
right,
we're here to support you and help you in any way that you can.
yeah,
It's kind of like I feel like with guys, like what can I relate it to? Like skincare, right? You guys can wash your face with a dirty rag and like
right.
you'll be
I'm like,
good.
I'm good.
But if I can
It's
help you
clean.
enhance it by like giving you
Right.
a skincare routine,
Yeah.
you might feel a little more like, okay, like this is looking like a little bit better.
Hmm.
And that's like where I come in as a partner to support you and help you do a little bit better for yourself. Like you
Right.
were already doing good before, but it's like if I can help you become even like a little bit better,
Hmm.
then that's my job done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you gotta get yourself a Lizelle.
Well,
And
at the end of the day, like I think the whole message behind this episode is that everybody should be getting checked.
yes,
Go get your general health checkups.
yeah, I need to get my prostate, and I
We're
need to
gonna go
get
do
all
that.
that stuff.
Hmm.
because I
As
am
like
up getting up there
overwhelming
in
and daunting
age.
as that can be, like getting your prostate checked, it's
Yeah,
important. Getting your colon checked. I
colon
know
for
it
sure.
has like such
Uh,
negative stigmas
I know
behind it, but
I
it's
know colon
important.
cancer is really big here,
Oh
so
yeah.
for men.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely got to get those things checked out.
Yeah. And like for me, I, go get um breast screenings, go get
Right.
a what's the other thing called? Damn, what's the name of
So
it?
it's mammograms and
Mammograms the breast.
the pussy one.
What's it called again?
Uh,
There's a name for it. Not the pussy one. There's a name for it. All I can think of is when they put the thing
oh
inside.
yeah, that little
What's it called? There's
contraption.
a name for it.
How did I?
Damn.
It's brain fart for both of us.
But ladies, go and get your general health checkups as well. But
Yes.
also encourage the men in your life to do the same because it's really important,
Yeah.
And yeah, just go get everything checked because it's better to know now than later and
Yeah.
realize, like, shit, I could have done
Yep.
something to help
It's
get me away
prevention.
from this. Yes, prevention's better than
Yeah,
a cure, that's for sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
And like what you said earlier, the message is really like take care of yourself and make sure you ask your loved ones and your friends and family
Hmm.
how they're doing.
Yes.
Gauge where they're at. Maybe they need somebody to talk to.
Hmm.
Sometimes that easy. Like maybe they just need someone to listen to.
Yeah, definitely. And that's like today when we were at the shoot,
Yeah.
we were talking to Minnie and he was discussing about
Right.
mental health
So
for his generation. And I like it was making me tear up
yeah,
because
we
I was
have
like, wow.
I have my friend Esteban. He's my age,
Hmm.
and he has a son that is a freshman in high school. And his
Hmm.
name's Minnie, and I was also surprised that he was asking for help and was brave enough to
I think it's
talk to his
amazing.
parents and say, "Hey, I need help,
Mm.
mental help," and they're so open about. Like, I'm kudos to Minnie and Esteban and Kat to like really support him because, like, again, growing up, we didn't ask that
No. Yeah. Not like I just feel like it was something growing up. I definitely bottled a lot of my
for
emotions.
sure.
And I guess as an adult, it's like all coming out. But
Mm,
at least now I know what I would like to do for our kids,
right.
like to help them in the future.
Exactly.
And it's all about creating that safe space
Yep.
and open and honest environment where they don't feel scared to
Hmm.
come to us about things.
Right.
And I think that's where it begins. That's where you break the cycle
Yep.
for like what maybe we went through like as kids
Hmm.
where we weren't so much supported. Not to knock our parents or anything. It's just
I mean that
the values that they grew up with,
they learned that from their parents, and they
Exactly.
didn't worry about those type of issues back then
Hmm.
either. So they've taught us the same thing, and now it's like, no, we need to really talk about these things
Yeah, it's kind of like once you
to
decide
break that
to break
cycle.
the cycle,
Yeah.
that's where it begins and
Yeah.
that's where it transcends into generations to come. So yeah, definitely talk to your kids about mental health, talk to everybody about around you about mental health,
Hmm.
talk to the men in your lives about mental health, how they're doing, how they're feeling, because it has been a crazy past few years,
Yeah.
especially and with
Yeah.
everything that's going on in the world too. Um, like what's happening over here lately with the shootings and stuff,
Yeah.
it's just been getting insane.
Hmm.
And I think it's important that we really do look out for each other and talk to each other about how you're feeling, even if it isn't something that affects you directly. Like I know people might not be directly affected by certain events,
Hmm.
but even seeing it on the news can be very
Yeah.
taxing and draining to your mental health. I was actually talking to Kat today about how like we're both saying like we don't really watch the news like that because it's
Yeah. It's
so
bad.
draining, but at the same time it's like you got to stay informed with what's going on around you,
Right.
and that's why it's important to talk about these things. I know for us, like we talk about what's going on in the world. It
Hmm.
might not be the best of topics, but kind of
Yeah.
just talking about the situation, how it makes us feel. I feel like,
And what we can do to prevent that for our kids, and
mm-hmm,
what, yeah, we definitely talk about those things.
yeah. So yeah,
So yeah.
message of today's episode is to go book an appointment with your doctor, get a general health checkup.
Hmm.
Um, if you feel like you're struggling with your mental health, find somebody to talk to about that, even if
Hmm.
it's not something that you can afford, because like I said, I know it's expensive.
Yes.
Open up to somebody that you feel safe with
Right.
and really have a that open dialogue there in that conversation to be like, this is how I'm feeling, because
Hmm.
sometimes you don't realize that the person that you're opening up to might feel the exact same way as well.
Exactly.
Like there's a lot of people who struggle with mental health, whether
Hmm.
it's mild, mid to severe.
Hmm.
So it's just about opening up that line of communication and being open and honest with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys, that is pretty much it for
Yeah, that's it.
today's episode. Like we said, go and get your health checks done, book your appointments, and any
Yeah,
other
and
last words?
just open up and talk to someone, ask
Mhm.
them how they're doing, and just ask for help if you need it.
Yes. It can make a big difference to just ask for help or even to offer help to others.
Right.
Yeah. So, that being said, we hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of the One Day Podcast, our
Our
first
first in
episode
person.
together.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy. It feels so weird because we've
It
been doing
does.
this like
I've
for
only seen
how
you through the
I
screen,
know.
so it's like
It's kind of strange. We'll
it's
get used to it.
different and strange and exciting at the same time.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll catch you guys next week for another episode. We hope everybody's staying safe, looking after yourselves, and looking out for each
Hmm.
other. And we'll catch you guys next time.
All right.
Bye.
Deuces.